Um, Good evening, everyone. My name is Filbert. I'm from class 10, and today I will give you a lecture about different classification of matter. But before I will going to give the lecture, or just say I will give the PowerPoint of the full detail of the lecture, I will give a short of it. So matter is have two types. One is pure substances and second is mixture. I will go to pure substances first. Pure substances have two, element and compound. Element have three types: metal, non-metal, and metalloid. Then we have compound. It have two. One is organic, we have two, aliphatic and aromatic. Then after organic, have inorganic. It has acid, base, and salt. Now after the pure substances, there are mixture. Mixture have homogeneous and heterogeneous. Homogeneous, an example is solution, while heterogeneous is suspension and colloid. Okay, this is a short summary of the lecture. Now I will give you the full lecture again. Full lecture. As the name suggests, is about different classifications of matter. Yes, different classification of matter. Now, let's go to the meaning first. Meaning of matter is anything that occupies space and mass. It has two types. One is pure substances, and the second is mixtures. Now, the meaning of pure substances: a matter having definite composition and distinct properties. Now, mixture is a combination of two or more substances. Now, let's go to pure substances and its types. Pure substances, like before I give the short summary, it has element and compound. Now the meaning of it: element can't be composed into simple substances. It composed of one kind of element. So it only have one element. It cannot be composed into simple substances. Can't be composed into simple substances, meaning it cannot be more divided because already one atom. And since only have one atom, and also one more thing, element, if you want to find the example of element, they are all in the periodic table of the elements. Like the next again, it's a periodic table of elements. Now we go to compound, a substance that is made of two or more elements, thus composed of two or more atoms. For example, like element of H plus O will become water, become H2O. Basically, for compound, it's basically a mixture of elements. Elements 1 with element 2, or they will combine and become a compound. Yeah, something like that. Now we go to example A, types of elements. Elements have three, which is metal, like iron, copper, gold, etc. It's also a good conductor. In the periodic table, it have alkali metal, transition metal, and basic metal. While non-metal, carbon, sulfur, nitrogen, are pro-conductor, so meaning they cannot be conductive for electricity or heat. Non-metal, as the name suggests, is also the same in the periodic table of the elements. It's non-metal. For example of this, like this one, other than carbon, sulfur, and nitrogen, is oxygen, phosphorus, and selenium. While metalloids exhibit both metal and non-metal, like boron, arsenic, tellurium. Other than this one, it also have silicon, germanium, antimony, and polonium. Now, if you want to get this more in this one, just find the alkali metal, basic metal, and transition metal. There's a lot of it. From a lot of it. You can find it in the periodic table of the elements for number metal. Now let's go to compound. Compound has two types. One is organic, consists of chains of chains or ring of hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons is equal to CH, which has two. One is aliphatic, has benzene ring. So basically, no ring. No, it's not shaped a ring, but it's more like a chain. No chain, so no look at the ring. The aromatic has benzene ring and a strong scent. Meaning it look like a ring. Shape a ring, not like a chain. Now there are two. And number two is inorganic, has no hydrocarbon, meaning there's no CH. It has three. One is acids, produces hydrogen ion when diluted in water. pH is less than 7 and tastes sour. Example is H2S, HEQ, hydrosulfuric acid. Now it's base. Second is base, produces hydroxide ion when diluted in water. We say pH is higher than 7 and tastes bitter. Example of it is sodium hydroxide. So if I remember correctly, everything that has hydroxide in it is a part of base. Now while the third is salt, consists of metallic and non-metallic ion. For example, NCl fluoride. NCl is a metal, the fluoride is a non-metal. So salt, basically you need just to find a metallic and non-metallic ion, and it's already called a salt. Now after pure substances, there are mixtures. Mixtures, there are two. One is homogeneous, a type of mixture wherein only one phase is visible. Example is solution, a mixture wherein the particles are too small to be seen and to remain suspended. Example of solution is water and sugar. Water and sugar, when you mix them, the sugar will become too small and cannot be seen. That is an example of solution. The heterogeneous type of mixture wherein two or more phases are made visible. Example of it is suspension, a mixture whose particles are large enough to be seen and to remain suspended. An example of suspension. Wait a minute. Example of suspension is oil, vinegar, or sand and water. It's an example of suspension. While colloid, a mixture whose particles are too small to be seen but large enough to be suspended. Meaning is the particles are in between in size. They do not separate into layers. Example of this is fog. And a property of colloid is Tyndall effect, the scattering of light in a colloidal system. In a colloidal system, after fog, there are emulsions, smoke, foams, milk, clouds, gels, and aerosols. So in short, I will just give it again. Itu different classification of matter. This is the meaning. These are the types, and this is the meaning of the type. Pure substances. So this is the meaning. A mixture is this is the meaning. Now pure substances have also different type also. There are two elements and compound. The meaning of elements is this. Well, the meaning of compound is this. To get more know about this, just use the periodic table of elements. But compound is basically just a mixture of elements. Now the elements have three types. One is metal. There's a lot in the periodic table of elements, and non-metal. Quite few, but the name is the same with the periodic table of elements. Metalloids or semi-metal in the periodic table of elements is this. Now we go to compound. Compound is have this. It have aliphatic no benzene ring. An example of, I forgot to give the example, but this is the example from Now for aromatic, the example of it is this. Example of it is this. Something is the look is like this for aromatic. Also have function. Now for inorganic, has no hydrocarbon, just free. It's like acids. This is the meaning. This and this. Now base is this, and salt is this. Now to mixtures. So with that we go to mixtures. There are two. One is this. Example is this. Second is heterogeneous. Is the meaning is this. Example of it is this. And this. This is the second of the heterogeneous. The meaning is this. And the property of colorway is using the Tyndall effect. This the meaning of this. Okay, that is all. Forgive me if my lecture, if my wording or lecture are not that very good. Forgive me because yes. And that is all. Thank you for listening to my lecture. Thank you for listening to me in my lecture. Thank you for listening to me.